I do believe we have time for a few questions
right.
if there are any. There's one right there.
Great, Dan.
I have a question for you, Simon.
Yes.
I think 7-8 years ago, I read about psychology research from McGill University in Montreal that were studying creativity. And they came up with only one thing that all creative people had in common, and it was that they had an unhappy childhood.
Right.
I'm the textbook case that kind of proves that. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about that.
Oh, so it's a very good question. Do you need an unhappy child in order to be creative? Well, I think the answer is actually no, I have to say. I think you can have a happy childhood and still be creative. Actually, the interesting thing is that we don't know why we become creative. I mean, to some extent, it probably is within our sort of gene or within our personality and so on. But we also know, as we heard today, that we can actually influence our genetic makeup to make us creative. So regardless if we have the genes, if we have the childhood, or whatever we have, we can always be more creative.
Där borta.
Yeah, hi. I also have a question for Simon.
Thank
Do
you.
you agree that those of us that are left-handed are more creative than the right-handed people?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. So do you
I'm
need to be left-handed in order to be creative? Well, you know, actually, if you contact me later this year, I will probably answer that question because we're looking into that right now. But I think actually there is something to this left-handedness. But actually it is not about, I think at least, it is not about being left-handed. It's more about using both your hands. So, I mean, you probably know about the laterality thing, about the brain halves, so the left and the right brain. Well, we sort of left that a bit, and we are thinking now that it's actually, if you don't have this lateralization to a large extent, that could probably make you more creative. So it's even been argued that actually this sort of lateralization that we have in our brains, that is actually what makes us humans, because we focus some sort of our capabilities to the left brain, especially language and so on. And this opens up for, you know, for being able to have a language, but it also opens up, for instance, maybe for schizophrenia. So there is a professor in England, Timothy Crow. He argues that this is actually the very answer for why we have schizophrenia present in the population, that they have a failure in the lateralization of the brain halves, but maybe this also opens up for the creativity.
Anna, does the helmet work in the ski slopes?
No, it's just for bicycling so far.
Shame.
But we have, you know, we have this USB port that, so probably in the future you can download other softwares into it. Recharge it. The gas. You send it in to us, and we want the black box inside that contains the data from the accident so that we can learn more about accidents. And then we give you a discount on a new one, or if you live in Sweden, most insurance companies pay you a new one on your ordinary home insurance.
I have a question to Happy Man. If you're self-employed, what's your tips to keep yourself happy if you don't have colleagues?
That's actually... Well, tip number one is get some. Yeah, when I started this company 9 years ago, it was only me. Now we're 4 people, which is awesome. But back when it was only me, I mean, it's a matter of getting out and meeting people because you need results in relationships, right? And as a self-employed person, getting results is fantastic because you're doing all the work and you have control of everything. But, you know, being alone all day is probably not healthy, and then you end up with Simon.
Lucky you.
So you know, go to conferences. You know, go be a part of a learning group. Go be a part of a mastermind group. See your friends. Actually, when I've written 3 books about happiness at work, and the first one I wrote in cafes. because I got no writing done at home. So every morning I'd go to a cafe, I'd write for 3 or 4 hours, and then go do other work. So getting out of the house. I think if you stay inside your home for too long, you get really weird. Does that help?
Yeah. Hi, I have a question for Simon. Is there a connection between a very high IQ or a relatively high IQ and creativity?
Oh, the question is if IQ is associated to creativity.
Yeah.
So it's a very good question, and it's been debated a lot. And I think the answer is to a certain extent. But actually, it seems that if you have too high IQ, that is probably not good for your creativity. So I think the present state of this is not really my field, but as I know, it is that to a certain extent, maybe to 120 IQ, it is good to have more IQ. But then after that, it's probably not so good. And there's also a fantastic study, I think, by Terman long ago, where they had these children and they looked on IQ and they were able to use IQ to see which one actually grew up and became sort of geniuses. And to a certain extent that actually worked, but they happened to miss a Nobel Prize winner that did not have this IQ. So
Hej Anna. Första gången jag såg den idén med det här så fick jag en massa idéer runt omkring och så tänkte jag folk måste komma till hela tiden med väldigt många nya idéer om hur man kan använda den som i skidbacken när man åker, vad det nu är man åker eller trillar på. Så hur gör du liksom för att skärma av er, för att bara klara av och fokusera på den bästa idén så att säga?
Should I answer in Swedish or English? The question was, how do we focus when people are maybe contacting us with different ideas that they want us to make as well, like skiing helmets and horseback riding helmets and epileptic helmets. I don't know. I mean, last week there was this Fredrik Gertten movie. It's a short movie about us that was released, and we had this enormous media exposure again. And they phoned us from ABC and CNN and BBC and all these. And it's so, it's like wonderful. You can't describe the feeling of being appreciated, of course. And also when these inventors call us and they want help and they want us to, like, how did you make it? How should I make it? Do you want to buy my idea? We just say no. I mean, we have to say no for now and keep the contacts, because of course in the future maybe we will be more people and we can cooperate with more other companies, hopefully. But it's a boring answer, in a way. Yeah, just say no.
Seems that's about it. In that case, thank you all for coming and have an awesome afternoon.